This message is reaching you at exactly the right time. Maybe you've been sensing it, a quiet shift, a longing, or even a strange pause. You've been moving forward, but something deep inside you has been asking, is this really it? Or is there something more I'm meant to follow? The cards today weave a message that feels deeply personal. This isn't just a reading, this is a story, and it's about you. Hello, everyone. This is the Reflective Spread, and today I'm bringing you a reading that tells you a story that's less about fate and more about recognition, about what you've already planted in what you're being shown. So it starts with the Eight of Wands, marked with the word gathering. Here, the traditional meaning of fast movement is replaced by something far more grounded. Remember that I'm using the deck of the Tarot of the Master, crafted or actually originally painted by Giovanni Vacchetta in 1863. So, in this beautiful depiction of the card, we see a basket full of harvest. We see the corn, we see the apples, the butternut squash next to it. We also see the tools of labor that surround this basket. And this is all evidence of effort. This is all evidence of time, of patience, because this is the moment where things begin to come together. The gathering of ideas, the gathering of experiences, of emotional weight. You've been doing the work quietly and perhaps even unnoticed, but the results are forming. This card is telling you you've built more than you realize. Use it to your favor because now it's time to gather not just what you've created, but who you've become in the process. This is a very important message because as we begin to recognize that a door opens into something far more subtle, far more intuitive, we start to understand that this is actually intentional work because we've been putting in the effort for something that we've dreamed about, something that we really desire and we really long for. And this is where the card of the moon enters, or more precisely, we have here the figure of Diana, the moon goddess, standing proud in her violet dress, bow in hand, her bound, her hund at her side. The sky behind her is light, not dark. This is something important to notice because this actually gives you the sense that she is dreaming about something with clarity and she is intentional about it. You know, the moon glows like a halo behind her, and a crab floats nearby, a symbol of emotion, instinct, and spiritual tides. So, this is the moment the dream speaks louder than the doubt. You are not walking blindly without a clue of what you are doing or where you're heading. You're actually directed towards what you want and what you've been dreaming about. You're being guided not by logic, but by your deeper truth. Diana doesn't represent illusion in this reading, as usually the moon in other decks represents. She represents purpose within mystery, the knowing that doesn't need to be explained to be trusted. You are not meant to figure everything out right now. You are meant to feel your way through, to walk the wild path, to dream on purpose. But just just as you begin to move, yeah, there's a familiar voice of fear. You know, this voice that tells you, oh no, I can't, I suck, I don't do this well, I don't know where I'm going, I'm actually not even sure about what I'm doing because blah, blah, blah. You know, all of this chatter that your mind has that really holds you back and that doesn't let you move forward. You know, this is the Eight of Swords. And here the keyword is test. And it's not actually an external test, it's in the mind. Because you start to question yourself. You wonder if this dream is real, you know, if you're ready, if you've imagined too much, whatever. But this is the inner threshold. This is the moment when all the old stories rise to the surface. The ones that say you can't, you shouldn't, it's too late, whatever. But this card isn't a curse to you. You shouldn't look at it as a bad thing. It's just a mirror. It's showing you the cage your mind has built. And it's reminding you that you hold a key. You know, you can actually break yourself free from all of this. And the most important thing to understand about this kind of fear is that this isn't truth. It's just a story, a deeper, rehearsed one. You see, the cage the mind builds is almost always made of old beliefs, ones that were never yours to begin with. Maybe someone told you that dreaming too big is naive. You know, I once was being told that, for example. Um, I started to study environmental engineering. So I told someone about it, and he said, oh, you're dreaming too big because you're actually not gonna save the world. You need to make money first and you need to be more grounded because this is too fantastic, whatever. But you know, it's just their belief. It's just what they tried to install in your mind. Maybe you were also taught to play safe, to, you know, avoid standing out. You've been convinced that failure is a danger instead of a part of the journey. And the Eight of Swords doesn't come up to punish you, it comes up to reveal the bars you didn't even realize you were behind. And here's the thing about that cage, it is not even locked. The swords aren't holding you, the fear of the swords is. The moment you recognize that is the moment you stop accepting every anxious thought as reality and you begin to slip free. It is not easy, but it's honest. And the truth is, you don't have to have it all figured out to be free. You just have to be willing to trust something deeper than the mind. And that something deeper is your intuition, as I told you about with the card of the moon. Intuition doesn't shout, it doesn't argue, it whispers, it nudges, it knows. It leads you not with logic but with resonance. You just know this feels right, you know, this feels like me. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. You know, here for example, oh my god, I can't pick the card up. Okay, so here we have the presence of the heart, you know, um, in the Knight of Cups. It arrives with a message unlike the others that's marked with the word poem. You know, at first when I saw this card, I thought it was a bit weird because, you know, poem, you know, what's what does that mean in this situation? But this is a part of you that dares to believe, you know, that still dreams, that wants beauty. After everything, after the work, the mystery, the fear, you return to the feeling that started it all. This night is movement led by love, vision, connection. He doesn't ask if it's rational. He simply knows it's right. This is where your next step begins, not in the mind, but in the heart. So take this moment in. You've gathered so much. You've glimpsed the dream. You've stood in the trial of your own mind, and now you're being asked to follow the call that speaks in the language of poetry, the voice of your own soul. So, this is what this card is talking about when it says poem. Um, i I thought it was something way more romantic, but this card is actually talking about that. It's talking about the voice of your soul, what's written for you, um, even what you have written for yourself. This is your sign again, not just that something is coming, but that you are ready to meet it. You are ready to start with it. You are ready to take it. It's yours already. Don't waste this opportunity by fear or by doubt. This card is telling you this is your time to do it. Go with what your heart is telling you. So, what does this all mean for you right now? Um, it means it means that you've come so much farther than you think, that your efforts weren't just actions, they were preparation. That your dream is not an illusion, it's a compass. That your fear is not the enemy, it's the gateway. Here, for example, this card of disgrazia and this other card of, suspiri. This is telling you that you are worrying too much, you are thinking too much about the things that hold you back, and you think about the disaster that can happen and the negative things that your mind tells you that will happen if you keep going or if you follow your heart or everything, because the function of the brain and of the mind is to protect us. And here, it tells you again, follow your heart. You are ready for it. Trust it because you have the tools and you have the preparation for that. you know with the card of the moon, it's telling you that this dream is being directed. you know you have to break free from the cage that your mind is putting you in. You have the key of that. In fact, this is not even locked. And you know please, again, with these two cards here, remember that if you keep thinking about the disgrace that that you think is gonna happen, it's only going to hold you back. You know, it's not even gonna happen. It's just a way of protecting you for your mind. You know, your mind is just trying to protect you, but you have to know that this is just a depiction of what your mind thinks that you will listen to, so that you will stay in your comfort zone and you will stay like this, worrying, ruminating, doubting yourself, uh, not thinking, not thinking highly of yourself, not thinking in an abundant way about your future, not trusting that your heart is actually leading you towards something good in life. So if this message resonated with you, know that you didn't stumble across it by accident. It found you in this moment because your heart is ready to take the lead. So let it. And if you feel called to share your experience with me or with the world, your dream or your turning point, I would love to hear it in the comments. Thank you for being here, and until next time, walk with a heart, listen to your wild knowing, and never stop dreaming, because your dream is dreaming you too. And if we don't dream about anything, there is nothing else that we can do in life, apart from existing and just, coping with things. But you know, it's more beautiful if we dream. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed it, and um, I would love to read your experiences.